But I don't know if you want to tell the 5-year-old, your salary so they can go to school telling everybody how much you made. I mean, that's up to you. Some people want to be really transparent, and then some people maybe want to hold a little bit back just for purposes of, some little kids are snitches. They
snitches
talk
get
too
stitches,
much. They
man.
don't know.
Another episode of House of Ways and Means. I'm Ways, this is Means. We're gonna jump right into it. What are we talking about today, Means?
Well, on this channel, we like to help people get their money in order, get their financial situation right. So one thing I want to talk about today is how you go about setting your financial plans and goals for your family. Now, I think that this is something that people would typically think they'd have to go to a professional for, but you know what? You guys can do it yourselves. You got tons of resources available to you, the internet being the main one that people didn't have years and years ago. So, I'm gonna provide you with a couple quick tips that you would get anyway if you were to go to a professional. So the first thing you wanna do is sit down, hopefully with your spouse. You may even want to involve the kids, which is probably good, depending on how old they are and if they have the attention span, just to get them thinking about their financial situations, and it'll set them up in a good place for the future. So what we want to do is we're going to have a family meeting, right? So the family meeting, we're going to set up priorities and we're going to bucket them into time periods. So short, intermediate, long term. So that's the way you're going to divide up your goals.
So how would you define the different time periods?
So I would say generally you want to stick to these guidelines. Something that's short term is going to be something that's going to happen over the next year, or at least within the next 12 months or so. You expect roughly that it's going to fit into that time period. So that's going to be things that you already know about. They're quantifiable as far as cost goes. You know the amount that you need to have to purchase this item or save for this item. So you have a measurable goal to save for. Then there's things that are intermediate term. Those are the things that are happening within the next 1 year to 5 years. So in that 1 to 5 year area, those are going to be your intermediate goals. And then long-term goals are going to be the things that are going to happen after 5 years. So 5 years to infinity, or to the rest of your life, things that you want to accomplish.
But let's say something occurs and something that you originally intended on being maybe an intermediate goal ends up becoming a high need. Say for instance, maybe you were saving for a specific car and you were in the process of paying off your current car, so you still have a car note, but something devastatingly happened to your car or whatever, and so as opposed to you now being purchasing a new car, being fit in the time frame of within 5 years, but after 1 year, now you need a car immediately. How would you then shift an intermediate goal to then a short-term goal when these emergencies come up?
Well, just forget emergencies. Life has a whole lot of things that happen that are changes, right? Life is unpredictable. Everybody knows that. So let's talk about it a little bit like a business, because you are a business. Your family is a business. It's important that you run it that way as well. But if I'm consulting for a business or some sort of government agency, a school district, what have you, we're going to need to revisit the financial plan we've come up with at least annually. So that's going to be, okay, well, this is what took place in the past year. Let's update and come up with the new short, intermediate, and long-term goals. Now, there may be some of the same things on it, but it gives you the most current and up-to-date information as far as where you are at that 1 year point. So, like I said, for a business, you're going to do that at least annually. Now, when you're consulting with a business, a business is going to need to come up with an investment policy. So that's going to come up with the stipulations of what they have coming over the next year as far as things they're going to need funds for, and how you may invest the cash that they have on hand in the meantime, so that they have the kind of cash and liquidity available to meet these obligations that they have. Now, taking it to a family sense, you can view it the same way. You kind of have a sense of what you need, what obligations you need to meet, and how you're going to, for example, invest the funds you have available to you in that interim time to make sure that you have the liquidity available to meet these obligations. Now, since you are just managing your household and you all live together, presumably, you have an opportunity to update your financial plan even more at a shorter interval than a year. So, I mean, say you have business meetings for your household every month. Well, perhaps every 3 months, so that every quarter, you'd come up with a new version of your financial plan. So you'd go and take another look at what your short-term, your intermediate term, and long-term goals are at that every 3-month window.
So in a family setting, at these family meetings, what are some examples of the goals that you could have that would fit into each bucket? The short term, the intermediate, and the long term?
Well, short term, so like I said, a year or less. So, I mean, you tell me, I mean, what are some goals that a family might have that they need to accomplish over the next year?
Maybe they want to save for, a new laptop for the home office, or one of the children might need a laptop, or the kids might need a laptop for school or whatever.
Okay.
So I feel like that could be a short term.
Sure. Say you know that you need a laptop, but you don't have the money today, and you want to get it as soon as possible, though. So the question that determines if it fits into any of these buckets: is it realistic for you to accomplish this goal within the time frame? So getting a laptop, depending on the price, depending on your income, I mean, you have to take all these things into account. Depending on your larger budget, can you find the extra cash to save on a monthly basis to where you can get that laptop comfortably and have it fit within the next year? I mean, for some people, if you're looking for a refurbished laptop you just want to do some general computing, I mean, you can get a laptop for $200-$300 refurbished or something like that. Now, if you need, it's a requirement that you need the newest MacBook that's costing you $2,000-$3,000, perhaps you can't save that extra in 1 year. So that would then become an intermediate term goal. It's all about what you can do in your financial situation.
So it's being realistic, and I mean, what if you just decided you just want to purchase it on your credit card? Can that, how would that change, that goal moving from short term to intermediate?
Well, I mean, I think for me, I mean, the way we manage our household, I don't think we'd be putting anything on credit unless it was something that is a must-have. Like, if I'm gonna lose my job if I don't have this, that would be the only way that I would go ahead and purchase something that I don't have the cash saved up for. But like I said, I mean, that's a matter of you and your own preferences, how badly you have to have it versus what you have available to you at that point in time. But so for instance, say I have a goal, I want to pay off, I have 3 student loans, and I want to pay one off, and the one is $15,000. Say I want to do that, I set that up as a short-term goal.
Right.
But I only make $40,000. Now, aside from all of my other expenses, is it realistic for me to sit that in the short-term goals with all the other bills that I have to live, to support my family? Perhaps my spouse doesn't work. Perhaps I have several children. I mean, I need to be realistic. So if something like that, if you don't have the cash available, perhaps you should be a little bit less ambitious and more realistic. And there's no shame in saying that I can't do this in this period without causing severe issues in my household, because obviously that's your first priority. So perhaps that may need to be an intermediate goal, or maybe even a long-term goal. So things like long-term goals. Long-term goals, I think, say you have a 5-year-old kid, you want to send him to college. Well, he's going to school, going to college in about 12, 13, 14 years, whatever. So yeah, you know that you're going to need to save a certain amount, but you need to start today, but you can't have that accomplished in the short or intermediate term. And saving for your retirement, that's something you make progress toward, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be finished until 20, 30, 40 years down the line when your career is all said and done. So, just be very thoughtful about what the goals are. And like I said, be open to altering the plan, changing the plan based on new information you have available to you. And I think it's not too much to do it on a quarterly basis. But, say you don't feel the need to, you don't want to go longer than a year, because that's when the plan that you had set up can become really stale. There's a lot of new changes. I mean, you may make more money, you get a raise, you may lose a job. I mean, you need to really keep your goal planning and financial planning for the family up to date.
I think it also helps with keeping all the participants interested and motivated. If everyone is realistically coming together and having this meeting, discussing the progress, discussing maybe areas that maybe you realize along the way that maybe you didn't save as much as you had intended this past month, and why, and if there is something that you can kind of tweak, and it becomes a family-focused event and activity. Everyone is kind of pitching in and doing their part to work towards that goal. I think it's really important to, like you said, involve the kids with the financial planning, because the more the kids are aware of the financial goals or the plans that you have for your family, the more buy-in you're going to get from them, and the least you'll have to deal with, oh, mom, can I get this? Or can I get that? Because they'll have a little bit more of an understanding that, okay, no, we can't get these additional things because we are saving for this. And this is what's important to our family. This is what our family needs. So it becomes more of a what's important to the family as a collective unit and body, like you said, like as a business, versus that kid's individual, selfish needs or, desires.
And even beyond the part about it keeping everybody interested and involved, I mean, it keeps everybody accountable.
Yeah.
So, if you see that you didn't achieve these things that you should have been able to achieve, and it just came down to a matter of you preferring short-term pleasures or whatever over staying on task, it keeps everybody accountable. So, I mean, stuff like that may happen, and it's important that you keep the budget up to date or the financial plan up to date so people can see, well, hey, this is where we perhaps messed up, this is where we can do a little better. Now, as far as the kids go, I mean, I understand if you want to have a little bit of discretion. I mean, 11-year-old daughter or your 15-year-old son, they're probably a little more mature about it. But I don't know if you want to tell the 5-year-old, your salary so they can go to school telling everybody how much you made. I mean, that's up to you. Some people want to be really transparent, and then some people maybe want to hold a little bit back just for the purposes of. Some little kids are snitches. They talk too much. They don't know. They don't understand context.
They don't.
So don't feel like you have to tell them every little thing. Don't tell them that some really private thing that you had to maybe spend some money on that you didn't want to. I mean, but bring them along. The idea is that what they learn there, they can then take forward, and then it'll put them in a good position to start planning for their financial future when they get old enough to.
That's so important.
So anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. Let us know if you have any other things that you want us to talk about related to household finance. If you're watching on Facebook, we'd love to have you pop over to YouTube and just subscribe to us over there. And we'll keep popping out the videos. See y'all later.
Bye.